Hey guys, Cleanblade here, bringing another Pokemon TCG online deck profile. Today we're looking into Mienshao this week. This deck has recently started to pop around the Twitch stream scene of all the different decks, and I figured I'd do a deck profile on my version of the deck. So let's just jump straight into the deck. We're running one Shaman EX, mostly because when we Karina we can get Ultra Ball, which then can go right into Shaman for huge card advantages. So that's the only reason why we run Shaman. You could run this deck without even running Shaman. If that's the case, you run an extra Eco Arm, and we'll get into that stuff later. Then we are running 3 Hawlucha with Shining Spear to use Flying Press. Hawlucha can be really big in this deck against certain EXs, and you can just hit for 100 damage twice, and seeing we run 4 Focus Sash, it doesn't get KO'd right away, and you can just KO EXs for just a Hawlucha, and that can be a really big investment that can change the tide of a game. So keep that in mind. Then we're running 4 Minfu. Minfus, we need it for Mienshao, so enough said. Then we're running 3 Mienshao. Now Mienshao has the attack aerial turn, return this Pokemon and all cards attached to it back to your hand. So that means we can return Focus Sash and Strong Energy back to our hand. But that means it also picks up Minfu and stuff like that. So in order to get this combo going, we do have to have a second Minfu down on the bench and like Robo Subs and continual Focus Sashes, because all we're doing is denying prizes and winning the game off of that essentially. So yeah, that's basically the whole concept of the Mienshao deck. Now moving on, to make the deck a little bit more aggressive, I am running 2 Eevee, and then we are running 1 Flareon and 2 Jolteon. Now I only choose to run this because Rayquaza and Yveltal are kind of big right now. Seeing Yveltal is free off this ladder process for versus, I do believe, so that's why I'm running the Jolteon. And we run the Flareon for mostly metal matchups, because Aegislash can be kind of hard to beat because of strong energy that we run, so we have to run the normal fighting energy, which then we're only doing the 40 damage, but Flareon allows us to hit 80, and with a fighting stadium we hit 120, I do believe. So there's that, so keep that in mind. That's why we run the Flareon, or at least why you could cut these if you didn't want to run them or don't have them. I just don't know what you'd replace them with personally, but you could cut them. Next up, we're going to jump straight into the trainer line. We are running 2 Eco Arm. It allows us to shuffle 3 tool cards from your discard pile back into your deck. So this means after we've burned through 3 Focus Sashes, okay, we can Eco Arm 3 of them back into the deck, which means we can deny even more prizes on top of the Robo Subs, and we can do this 2 times. So that means we can add up to 6 Focus Sashes back into the deck, plus the 4 that we already have. So that's 10 prize denials, which can just change the tide of the game so heavily, and that's basically how you win the game. So that's why we're running the 2 Eco Arm. Then we're running 4 Level Ball. We can grab basically everything in the deck besides Shaman off a Level Ball, so that's why we're running 4. Then we are running 4 Robo Sub. Robo Sub is just really good in this type of deck. You get to put it up, they have to KO it or Lysandre around it, and they don't even get a prize if they KO it. So Robo Sub is just another stall mechanism, and it's basically really good in the deck. That's why you run it. Then we are running 1 Startling Megaphone for the people who use Muscle Bands, stuff like that. It can be really annoying sometimes, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to, let's say, pop your Focus Sash, but now all of a sudden they can. So that's another time that you'd have to Eco Arm, even though you originally wouldn't have if you had the Megaphone, if that makes sense. So that's why we run the 1 Megaphone. Then we're running the 1 Switch. Now, we only run the 1 Switch because sometimes we have Flareon or Shaman stuck in the active, and we just don't want to pay the retreat costs, if that makes sense. So that's why we run the 1 Switch. Other than that, you don't even need Switch. Everything else either has 0 retreat or 1 retreat, and the Mienshaos, we just pick them up no matter what. So yeah, that's basically how it goes. Like Jolteon has free retreat and Hawlucha has free retreat, and everything else is 1 retreat. And if you aren't attacking with it, the odds are it shouldn't be active, if that makes sense. So that's why we only run the 1 Switch. Then we're running 2 Ultra Ball. The Ultra Ball can be really key sometimes. You can Karina, get a Mienshao, let's say, and an Ultra Ball, discard 2 cards from your hand, get the Shaman Mienshao, put it down, and then Shaman for full fresh 6 card hand. And it's just a tempo play, and that's why we run the 2 Ultra Ball essentially. Then we're running 4 VS Seeker. The deck is very Karina heavy, which is kind of odd to say, since Karina isn't the greatest supporter in the game. But in this deck, it becomes really, really good. So that's why we're running 4 VS Seeker. Then we're running 3 Karina. Now, it allows us to search our deck for fighting Pokemon and any item card from the deck. So This means we can grab our focus ashes when we need them, we can grab the eco arms when we need them, all that stuff, and we can grab the level balls and the robo subs and the Starling megaphones. Plus we can grab a Minfu and Mienshao, or even a Halucha if we want to go the Halucha route in a game. So that's why Karina is really, really good in this deck, and that's why we run 3 of them. Now we're running 1 Light Center. You could run 2, but I just prefer 1 in this deck. I don't think the deck's hyper aggressive, but it can be really good if you verse people who play a lot of Shamans, because we can just take prizes on Shamans instantly because of Jolteon. So keep that in mind if you want to run 2. Now we're running 3 Professor Birch's Observations. I think this card is pretty needed in this deck. Sometimes you just want to flip a coin instead of Shauna, stuff like that, and it's pretty good, so that's why we're running 3. We're running 3 Sycamore because Sycamore is the best draw support in the game, and sometimes you draw a dead hand and you just had to Sycamore away. Like one time I opened up 3 Focus Sashes, 2 Strong Energies, a VS Seeker, and Sycamore, and I had to Sycamore away. It was a bad opening hand, don't get me wrong, but we can always get back those Focus Sashes with Eco Arm, so that's not the biggest of deals, if that makes sense. So that's why we can run 3 Sycamore. Then we are running 1 Shauna, and this will be the end of our supporter line. Now we only run the 1 Shauna because technically I think Birch's is 5.5 cards overall for the coin flip, when Shauna is just a straight 5, so we do just run the 1 Shauna. Plus we can get huge hands and stall out the game for so long that you just Shauna down to your hand down to 5, and all of a sudden they're at like 1 or 2 cards, and you have a deck full of like 15 now because your hand is just so big because you're continually picking up cards from Mienshao, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind. Then we're moving into the stadiums now. We are running 3 Fighting Signum, that's it. I used to run 4, but I cut it for an extra Eco Arm, and I think that's the correct play to do. I think Eco Arm is really, really good in this deck, and it can just make the matchups in this deck so good. So that's why we run the Eco Arm over 4 Fighting Stadium, in my opinion. Then, of course, we're running the MVP of the deck, which is Focus Sash. If this card is attached to a Fighting-type Pokemon, and it would be knocked out by an opponent's attack, if it's at full HP, it has 10 HP remaining instead. So this makes things like Mienshao and Halucha just a menace, because we can put up a Minfu with a Focus Sash, and if they don't have Starling Megaphone, they don't get the KO on it, and then we just go into Mienshao, pop it back up into our hand, and bam, now we have a fresh Minfu ready up and to go. And sometimes that just changes the game completely, and when you're doing that multiple times throughout the game and you're just rejecting them of those prizes, it just starves them out slowly but surely, and you win the game essentially. And that's why this deck is so prevalent right now, in my opinion. And for energies, that's pretty standard. We're just going to jump straight into it. We're running 4 strong. Everybody knows what strong energies does. Then we're running 4 regular fighting energy, mostly for the Aegis Slash matchup and stuff like that. But I just want to do a quick note on this deck. This deck is not the hyper-aggressive fast deck that most people might think it would be. It's actually a really slow-paced deck because the max damage you're actually doing is only 60 usually. And if they have a resistance to your fighting, that means you're doing 40, which takes longer to kill and stuff like that. So this is a slower-paced deck, and you kind of want to play it slower when you jump into it and stuff like that. So keep that in mind when you're playing this deck. Now, I want to thank everybody for watching this video, and so much thankfulness for you guys supporting me and all that stuff. If you guys liked the video, hit the thumbs up button. It means a lot to me. If you guys didn't like it, dislike it, tell me down in the comment section down below why you guys dislike it. Maybe you guys have some opinions on the deck itself. Yeah, just let me know. And if you guys really like this video and my content, go over to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and it means a lot to me, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.